Hello, guys. Awesome people. So, we will be learning about React today. Okay, so why something like this is important and why you need to learn something in web development. Okay, and why even web development, why this whole architecture is required. So, we'll be learning and discussing everything. So, I'm Anuj, I'm from Code for Cause. Probably you guys have heard about this on YouTube or some other places in the recent times. So we have a original thought of, not exactly original, but our thought is about 100% education in India, and corresponding that we have chosen the domain of computer science, and we are building the team, we are building the people who can really make the change. Okay, so we want that enthusiasm, we want that energy in you guys, that really we should want to create something great. ठीक है, हैकाथन इज व्हाट, हैकाथन होता क्या है? हैकाथन तुम्हारे पास में एक मैराथन, द टाइम फ्रेम वेर यू वांट टू बिल्ड समथिंग, that energy that you want to build something, and we want to exaggerate that, we want to multiply that in manifold. Okay, so for that we want to take many steps and gradual learning at the same time, how exactly you can make something with the help of the existing things. Okay, and point is that you have to evolve on that pace, because 5 to 10 years back, if you have to make things like this, like this website, or maybe this StreamYard, maybe this YouTube. So if you go 5 to 10 years back, things were not that easy. Okay, if you want to make a desktop application, you had to write a lot of code, बहुत सारा कुछ लिखोगे तब जाके फाइनली कुछ बिल्ड हो पाएगा. ठीक है, बट इस टाइम पे तुम्हारे लिए इतना डिफिकल्ट है क्या? If you want to make a desktop application, or if you want to make a normal simple web application, so how easy it is to create the hello world application of that. Okay, I want the response in chat. I'm watching the chat constantly, and I want you guys to be active in that. ठीक है, क्योंकि वही एनर्जी हमारे पे रेसिप्रोकेट हो रही होगी. जब तक तुम मेरे से बात नहीं करोगे, मैं तुम्हारे से बात नहीं करूंगा. ठीक है, और रियलिटी में देखना, जब रिएक्ट के बारे में हम बात कर रहे होंगे, तो ओपन सोर्स, गूगल समर ऑफ कोड, ये सब कुछ जो होता है, क्या होता है, उन सब चीजों के ऊपर भी मैं तुम्हारे को बहुत डिटेल में बता रहा हूँ. ठीक है, तो आई नो गूगल समर ऑफ कोड तुम लोगों के लिए एक बहुत क्रिस्पी सी चीज है. ठीक है, बट उस चीज के करस्पॉन्डिंग और ओपन सोर्स के करस्पॉन्डिंग रिएक्ट के साथ मिला के हम सारी चीजें बात कर रहे होंगे. ठीक है, पर तुम गूगल समर ऑफ कोड के बारे में मेरे को क्यों सुनोगे? I'm Google Summer of Code student, mentor and admin with JBoss community. ठीक है, लास्ट 3 ईयर से JBoss community के अंदर GSoC admin हूँ, ओपन सोर्स एंथुसियास्ट हूँ. एग्जैक्टली तुम्हारे को ये पॉइंट मैं हमेशा वैसे पुट कर रहा होता हूँ कि GSoC इज नॉट एग्जैक्टली GSoC, उसके अंदर करस्पॉन्डिंग बहुत सारे सब डिविजन्स रहते हैं. स्पेशली जो सबसे की फोकस होता है वो ओपन सोर्स होता है, उसके ऊपर भी सब कुछ डिटेल में बता रहे होंगे. ठीक है, बट put your focus here, put your energy here, be here for next 1 or 1.5 hour depending on कि आप लोग किस हिसाब से किस पेस पे चीजों को रिसीव कर पाते हो. ठीक है, तो उन चीजों के करस्पॉन्डिंग विल बी पुटिंग अप द थिंग्स. तो मेजर थिंग दैट विल बी पुटिंग अप टुडे इज रिएक्ट, एंड देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ माइनर थिंग्स जो कि पैरेलल में चल रही होंगी. ठीक है, सो माय स्क्रीन इज added and I think shared now. Cool. Okay, my screen is added. बढ़िया. तो सबसे पहले वेब डेवलपमेंट की कहानी, वेब डेवलपमेंट की नींव किस तरह से रखी गई. ठीक है, तो वेब डेवलपमेंट में तुमने कहा कि ठीक है यार, हमारे पास हम पेजेस शेयर कर रहे थे. ठीक है, वेबसाइट से कंसेप्ट आया था, पेजेस शेयर होने लग गए थे. ठीक है, पेजेस शेयर होने लग गए तो उसके अंदर फिर कंसेप्ट आ गया था HTML का, हाइपर टेक्स्ट मार्कअप लैंग्वेज, लिंक्स वगैरह की जरूरत थी. मगर क्या यहाँ पे इतने इंटरेक्टिव पेजेस हैं? क्या सही में इंटरेक्टिव पेजेस सिर्फ HTML से बन जाते हैं? नहीं, हमारे को किसी और चीज की जरूरत थी. तो एक स्क्रिप्टिंग लैंग्वेज का कंसेप्ट का स्ट्रक्चर निकल के आया जावास्क्रिप्ट. जावास्क्रिप्ट ऑसम ऑसम चीज. उसने क्या कहा कि HTML के पेजेस को मॉडिफाई करने के लिए हम क्लाइंट साइड पे ही काम करना शुरू कर पाएंगे. ठीक है, हमने HTML के पेजेस को मॉडिफाई क्लाइंट साइड पे ही करना शुरू कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, जावास्क्रिप्ट ने क्या कह दिया कि इसके पास में नॉर्मल आप कोड सिंटेक्स लिख सकते हो जिसकी हेल्प से चीजें हो पा रही होंगी. ठीक है, अब दिक्कत क्या है कि नॉर्मल जावास्क्रिप्ट एक नॉर्मल प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज की तरह ही है. तुम में से कुछ लोगों को आती होगी, तुम में से कुछ लोगों को नहीं आती होगी, डजंट मैटर कि आती है नहीं आती, बट एक नॉर्मल प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज की तरह है. क्या उसके अंदर कुछ वेरिएबल्स हैं, इफ एल्स है ना, व्हाइल लूप, फॉर लूप है, ये सब कुछ देखा ही है तुमने. पुरानी पुरानी कहानी वही चीज चल रही थी। ठीक है, उसके बाद में हमने क्या कहा कि अगर हमारे को आइटम्स को चेंज करना है, ठीक है, हमने लेट अस सपोज पैरेलल में वीएस कोड खोल लेते हैं जिसमें तुम्हारे को चीज करके दिखाने वाले हैं कि अगर हमारे को किसी आइटम की वैल्यू को एक्सेस करना है और अपडेट करना है, उस तरह के काम हम किसकी हेल्प से कर पा रहे हैं, उस सब को हम कर पा रहे हैं। जस्ट वन सेकेंड, फाइल ओपन, एक नया फोल्डर बना के उसके अंदर हम काम शुरू करेंगे। डेस्कटॉप पे हमने एक नया फोल्डर बना लिया, WS एप स्क्रिप्ट। ठीक है, वर्कशॉप ऑफ एप स्क्रिप्ट एंड ओपन। बिल्कुल बढ़िया। हमने यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा HTML पेज बना लेंगे, index.html। awesome। और हमने क्या कहा कि HTML का एक बहुत सिंपल सा बॉयलर प्लेट इसके अंदर हमने लिख दिया। ठीक है, इतना सभी को पता है क्या होता है, हेड। ठीक है, उसके बाद में मेटाज, टाइटल, और साथ में फिर हमारे पास में बॉडी, और बॉडी के अंदर हमने जावास्क्रिप्ट ऐड किया है। ठीक है, बिल्कुल सिंपल, बहुत प्लेन। इतना सा हमारे पास में काम हमारे को रखना था। ठीक है, चाहे तो इसको अभी ये भी हटा दो। ठीक है, ये वाला जावास्क्रिप्ट वाला पार्ट भी हमारे को अभी के लिए नहीं चाहिए, अभी हम बाइंड कर रहे होंगे धीरे धीरे, बट टेंशन नहीं है, इट इज द सिंपलेस्ट थिंग। और उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग हमने क्या कह दिया कि नाउ वी वांट H1 हियर। ठीक है, वेलकम टू, अभी अभी शुरुआत में द टोन वाज ऑफ मिर्जापुर, सो वेलकम टू मिर्जापुर। ओके, और वट एवर यू वांट। ओके, हम्म, Nile Gupta is saying React is super weird. I want to know why you think React is weird. ठीक है, पॉइंट क्या है कि जिस तरह से तुमने अभी तक चीजों को देखा और सोचा होता है, यू नो why we fear something that is not there। ठीक है, भूत से डरते हो, बहुत सारे लोग भूत से डरते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग वी गेट distracted and scared by a lot of things, especially the things that doesn't even exist। Okay, and the most common thing is fear of unknown। ठीक है, sometimes we do not know and sometimes we do not understand something, and because of that we are scared of it। How many times it happens that you are scared of your syllabus when you were in a particular standard, when you were in fifth standard or sixth standard? Weren't you scared of your syllabus? Is it's too hard, I cannot really understand what is happening. But when you were in one or two standard, upgraded, when you are in eighth standard, you can understand everything what is happening in the fifth standard. And especially now you are in graduation, and if I put any book of maybe class 1 2 3, or of 10th or 11th 12th, are you not comfortable with that? Okay, you guys understand this point, that when you upgrade your thought, when you upgrade you know to a higher level, you understand what is happening on the lower level। Okay, so you have to just keep on upgrading yourself, that's it, that's all you have to do। That makes sense to everyone? Cool। So we will be learning and we will be understanding how exactly, even though some of you, many of you might think that React is weird because React is doing something very different than you used to do। You were more comfortable playing around with the DOM, you were never comfortable playing with the virtual DOM, you were never comfortable creating something virtually then reflecting it in the real environment। Okay, so because of that, and some of you are not even comfortable with the normal web development like HTML, so many times it is more weird when ground up, and there is one way to build things as ground up, and one is top down। Okay, so when you are building, when you are using both approaches at the same time, when you are writing something like HTML, but at the same time you are saying that you are creating a virtual DOM where there are component and JavaScript items and they are just binding each other, binding with the help of each other, you don't totally understand what is happening, what is the stuff। So for that, we have to put up this session so that you can understand better what is happening। Okay, so when we are saying welcome to Mirzapur, awesome, and then we serve it, we ran a command and we served it. The ID that, not exactly ID, the editor I'm using right now is VS Code, and I just used serve command to serve it on the local host. Okay, and with the help of click, and now localhost 5000, welcome to Mirzapur. As simple as that. Pretty simple. Okay, now what we want to do, we want to create a JavaScript file to it. Okay, and why we want to create a JavaScript file? Because what we want to do now is we want to handle this h1, we want to handle this h1 with the help of JavaScript. Okay, so we said this is helper JavaScript, and in this helper JavaScript, what I'm saying is that we want to find this h1. Okay, how do we find this h1? We can say that document dot get element by tag name. Okay, get element by tag name. This is the way we are getting the lists. If you want list, and if you want single item, you can do this. Okay, so let us suppose we want a list of tag name, and we say that we want h1 items. The point with tags is that you cannot get the single item, you can only get the lists. So I'm saying that we want let h1s, all h1s, all headings. We want to get all the heads and headings बोल दो, या फिर headings head, whatever it is. Then you can put up console.log all heads. Boom, as simple as that. Okay, you're just console logging it. And but this is not enough, because when you're loading this page, you're not loading that JavaScript. Okay, so for loading that JavaScript, what you want your script src is equal to, and then it is pointing toward your helper.js. Boom, and now let's reload the page. Sorry, okay. You couldn't see the Mirzapur page because it was on the different screen. I didn't realize that you cannot see the page. Okay, you can see the page now. It was like this, and then I'm putting up the developer console near it, and I'm refreshing the page. Okay, so you can see the HTML collection, and in the list you have this single item h1, and this has this value where you can find welcome. Okay, so welcome to the Mirzapur. That this is the inner HTML and the inner text of this item. This makes sense to everyone? What we are simply doing, we are simply creating a heading on our HTML page, and with the help of JavaScript, we are getting that item. And now if we can get the item, by the tag, by the ID, or whatever way we can get the item, and after we got the item, what we can do now? क्या करोगे? What we will do now? We can now do anything like upgrading the value of this. Okay, like instead of this Mirzapur, we want to write welcome to code for cause. That makes sense? That we want to write now welcome to code for cause. So how do we do that? How do we change this text? So we can simply say that we want the first item. Okay, the selected item, that is let selected is equal to all heads, zeroth item. Because we are getting by the tag name, we have this list. Okay, and from the list we are selecting a single item. What we could do, we could provide a ID to the this item. We could provide an ID to it, and with the help of that we could have got the single item like this itself, like ID is equal to boom. And then what we can do here, that we don't have to get all the items, we can simply say select get element by ID, and then boom. Then we do not get many items, we only get the selected item. Okay, as simple as that. And then probably you want to say console log selected. Boom. This is welcome to Mirzapur. Ekdam jhakas. Superb. Okay, this is fine with everyone. And now what we are saying, that with this selected dot inner HTML, we can change the value of this. Okay, we are saying that we have this h1 and we want to change what is inside this, and what we want to put inside it now, welcome to code for cause. Bam. Okay, We refresh this. What happened? Initially, the page used to, had this concept where it is, it was reflecting welcome to Mirzapur. But because of this, because of the JavaScript we wrote, now it is saying welcome to Code for Cause. But you will say that now it is not dynamic. You wanted something dynamic to happen. And for that, how JavaScript is helping you, you could say, like on set interval, what we wanted, like this thing to happen only after a particular interval. And why this, what this set interval need, it need two things. The thing that, the function that you want to execute after that particular time, and the timeout after which that should happen. Okay, so probably what you can say that we want to provide a lambda expression for it, and this expression contain this operation. Okay, after, let us suppose 3 seconds, we want to do this. After 3 seconds, change from welcome to Mirzapur to welcome to Code for Cause. Awesome. Boom, welcome to Mirzapur. 1 2 3, welcome to Code for Cause. Okay, so this is the way your basic JavaScript is updating the components, updating the inner items. But now what is the requirement of the more frameworks and libraries that those are coming up? Okay, you are getting more and more framework, more and more libraries. What is the requirement of those? Do you really liking the way we are updating and changing the values of this particular h1? Do you think it is easy or hard? Do you think it is comfortable or uncomfortable when you are updating the values like this? I need some responses over this. Do you think it is easy, or do you think it is, getting weird, and why we have to do this? We should have something more comfortable, more convenient to create something. What is the response to it? Slightly not comfortable? That makes sense. We want something more comfortable. Okay. We want something that is more appealing. And because of that, we have frameworks like Angular and library like React. Okay, so it is a big debate, why React is considered as a library, but it is more like, if you have the basic understanding of what exactly a framework or library, you can have a better idea. But React is more like a library. And what Angular, React, or these kind of framework and libraries are doing, they're simply saying that you should be less targeted toward writing your HTML in the way that you're writing right now, because those items should be more component based. Okay, and what is component based? That you create a individual component, like in case of normal, whatever code you're writing, when you create a particular class. Okay, you create a particular class or you create a particular function, then later on what you can do, that you can create the copies of the objects of, like, objects of a class or their application of function. Okay, when you need those, do you have to do a lot of stuff, or you can simply plug and play those things? Okay, when you write a normal object-oriented principle in oops code in JavaScript or Java, or whichever language you want, then you can plug and play those things. And because you can pass on the parameters and things like that, because of that, you can also make, like, you create a single component and you make them for different things as well. Okay, and how you are making those things? Because you are passing on the values and creating something custom. So Abhi is asking about what about Vue.js. So Vue.js is a similar concept. It is just not the example I'm putting up, but it is also the most similar example to React. Okay, so Vue is also component based. React is also component based. See, these all things are component based. Even Angular was before not component based, but as they understood that how exactly a component architecture can really impact the way you are creating the structures in web development, Angular also turned to be component based. Okay, so what now? In addition to the concept of components, we need one more concept, and that is virtual DOM. Okay, what is this virtual DOM? When we talked about this HTML, okay, this HTML tag, sorry, this HTML tag, Then we had this head, and we had body, and what comes in head, but inside body, if we think, it is more like, then we have divisions and things, division. And in division we have a few things, we can have multiple items, and it is creating something like tree. Okay, and can we say this tree is a DOM? And this DOM, and the full form of this DOM is document object model. Okay, so what we are saying is that every component, every single unit item, or whatever is in the container of this whole structure, container or single item, that is an object. And what we are saying is that this complete document can be divided and subdivided as a tree. Okay, and we can represent the whole page as a DOM model. Okay, if you understand this thing, what we can simply say, that we do not want to really create the initial whole DOM by itself. We want to create a virtual DOM. Virtual DOM is just a JavaScript representation of the real DOM, but we are simply saying that we are not really creating the DOM itself. We are not creating the whole page itself. We are just creating something virtually representing it. Okay, and what is the benefit of that? So if you want to, if you have the virtual representation of something and you can change something in it, so that you don't want to reflect every item in the fraction of seconds. Okay, every update in the fraction of second. What we can have on our behalf, on our side, that we want to change a few things, and after every a few changes we want to reflect them. Okay, and rendering that part, rendering of that whole change is now in our control. That after we make these changes in the virtual DOM, we will reflect it on the real page. This makes sense to everyone, that we are reflecting on our part, we are reflecting on the virtual DOM, and then we are reflecting on the real page. Okay, so that is more. Just one second. I have to take one very very short call. That will be maybe maximum 15 seconds. I'm back, guys. So I'm really sorry. I had to keep you guys waiting for a minute. That was a call from my CA, chartered accountant, and because of that I had to take it. So sorry, sorry. uh I shouldn't have kept it open like this. um just I have to close it. I'm kind of forced to put it on the screen for a second. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I'm back. Cool. Yep, so we are back on this. So we have this, and what we are wanting now, what we are wanting right now is that we should reflect, okay, with the help of React. Okay, and we want to take it with example, we want to code it. Do you guys want to code it, or do you guys would just want to put it like this? Okay, so this is that, this is that. Do you guys want the real time code, how exactly react is doing something. We will integrate it with the help of GitHub API, so that we can put up a username. If we add up a username, we will get the information from the React, with the help of React we will get the, we will make a Axios call, and with the response of the Axios call we will update our page with the details of that person and the followers and these kind of details. So are you guys excited about that? Only if you guys are excited about that, I will, move forward with that, and otherwise we will just discuss the theoretical aspect of it. Do you guys want theoretical aspect of this, or do you guys want the practical aspect, making the real application with it? I want the responses. So we are getting the responses, we want practical aspect of this. And that is what why that is what why that is what I want to hear. Okay, because I also want the practical experience, because bit of theory is also needed. Yes, Tushar, we will do bit of theory, and but we will do that in the parallel of our application. Okay, so we are saying that we want to create a React application. And how we are creating this React application, we are saying that npx, okay, we are using node package executor. Okay, we are using node package executor, and with the help of this node package executor, we are running an X script, that is a standard script, create React app. Okay, right now it is within the home folder. So obviously for that, let me just come to desktop first, desktop, and then npx create React app. Okay, awesome. And then the name of the application that we want to create, let us suppose we want to create script. Because of app script, we are just naming this application script. Okay, it will take some time because it is now loading up the React DOM and everything that we need within this structure. Okay, so we have a lot of structure that help our basic React application. Okay, but at the same time I will showcase one more thing, that is JS Fiddle React. Okay, as things are building up there, we are just showcasing some basic things here. Okay, so I will convert it the way we need it. We are just removing already existed things from here and showcase a bit more basic things. Okay, so we have this div id app div, and then what we are doing here, we have this class, and with the help of React DOM we are rendering something. Okay, but what I'm showcasing here now is that we don't need this item as a class. Okay, what we will do here, that we will create a function instead. Okay, because we can create component with the help of class, and we can create component with the help of function. Okay, so why not create with the help of function? Because that can be much easier way of doing things. Okay, function to do app. Okay, and then within this, I'm just returning h1. Okay, and it is saying hello. This is fine for everyone. We're simply saying that we want to create a h1 within this to do. Okay, that's it. And then I just run it for you. Okay, and it is saying hello. Isn't it fine? And why it is so awesome? Because what I'm saying is that this simple thing, this very simple thing, is creating a component for you. Okay, The simple thing is creating the component where you're saying that you are putting up this small item and you are rendering this with the help of this to do app. Okay. And why, this kind of thing can, create an awesome aspect of things, because let us suppose you have one more item for this, like you want to create a more basic version of this, like saying indices or numbers or structure items. Let us suppose item. Okay. And in this item, what I'm simply saying that this is not a h1, this is a div. Okay. And within this div, what I want now is I want basically, let us suppose I say items, let items is equal to a list apple, mango, and guava. Okay. And what we want now, we want to, this is an apple, this is a mango, this is a guava, creating these kind of items with the help of this list. Okay. So, adding up these items could be a very tedious task if we are, just doing the basic HTML thing and you want the JavaScript to make the changes to it. Okay. That could be very tedious task for you, but in this case it is very easy. What I'm simply doing at this point is that you have this apple, mango, and guava, and within this item, what we can simply do, we want this fruit name, या फिर name of this fruit, या फिर f name, fruit name, and we want this is a what, name of the fruit, that is f name. This is a fruit name. Okay. As simple as this. Okay. And what we have to do now, we just have to create these items. Okay. From here we have this headings, and from here what we are simply saying that we want these items, and with the help of map we will simply provide that on an individual item that we are getting from this, we want to create this item. Okay. And on the on when we are doing this, we have to put up that we want to return a component of this. Okay. Sorry, not this. And here we want to pass the value that we want to pass this value of f name. Okay. And what is the value that we want to pass? This is this item value, or item name or fruit, whatever you want to say here. This is the fruit. If we pass this and we run this, okay, probably I made a mistake. Fruit is not sorry. Items dot map, and then this. Cool. Actually, it is an online editor. Because of that, the indentation and things are getting screwed up. Okay. We will do this thing in our local. Okay. This online things is generally a bit messy because we cannot handle the indentations and everything, and because of that the code is generally a bit screwed up. Okay. So but when we see this in the local environment, and we will explain everything on the very fundamental details, that we will open this application file, open, and our basic React application that we created on the desktop, that is um, what was the name, app script s script. Cool. Open. Awesome. We have this src, And what was happening there, the similar kind of thing is happening here. What is happening, that we have this, document dot get element by id, and that is root. And where we can find this root, we can find this root in this html page. Okay, we have this root item here, and we are binding this root item with the help of our index.js. Okay, we are binding this item like this, and then we are providing our app item. Okay, here we have the app item. Okay, and then we are putting everything within this. And if we want to start it, you know let me just run the hello world application of the React. If we run the hello world application of this React, we simply have to do npm run start. Okay, and it will run the basic application. This. So will these things comes automatically? Yeah. So these are the component. This is the boilerplate code. We are not creating this code. This is the code that got generated because of create React app. Okay, this is the boilerplate code because it is the standard way you should use React, and because of that, there are a lot of other boilerplate React code as well. So boilerplate codes for React. So you can find for any React or any kind of application, you can find a lot of awesome boilerplate code. So if we say what is create React app, you will find that it is just a way to create some boilerplate. Okay, create a React app, okay, or what we can say create React app npx. So what it is saying, that create React app is an basically an executable that can generate the boilerplate code for you. Okay, so this is the basic structure that they are generating. And if we want to break that, if you simply want to say that we want this image, okay, and nothing else, cool, refresh. And because it is building up, rebuilding up things here, and because of that everything is gone. And now we can remove even the class from this image, and boom, even now it will not rotate. We can obviously provide a basic style to it because we want it to be a bit shrinked. So let us suppose width as, sorry, we will need it to be a JavaScript item as well. So we with this parameter we are providing JavaScript, and within the JavaScript we want that object. So we are saying that we want the width to be probably let us suppose we say 200 pixels, and then the height to be 200 pixels. Simple as that. Sorry, we'll refresh now. Yeah, so this is the way we are customizing now. This is the way we are customizing, that we are simply saying that this index.js is binding up this app component. And this app component, like we created on the website, we are creating a simple function, and from there we are returning this component. Okay, so we could even remove this header part. These are just for creating the additional information, like this class name and things, like, because so you can see the whole background is black and these information. So these are information that are being provided by these things. But let us suppose we only want this image to happen. you know, to be displayed, we can do this with the help of the simple code that we are writing right now. Okay, so you guys are comfortable till this point what I'm saying? We are simply saying that we are creating the component, and now we can control the values and control how things should, reflect. Okay, how things should reflect. Okay, like let us suppose I have an input box, and when I write in that input box, there is something, some change should happen. Okay, like I'm changing in this, then the same change should happen at someplace else. Okay, and at the real time those changes should happen when I create this input box here. Let us suppose I create this input box. Okay, create this input box, type is equal to text. Cool, simple as this. And I come back here, I have this input box, hello. Okay, but right now I'm not controlling anything from this. Right now it is just an input box. That makes sense to you? Is it anything else? No, it is not. It is just an input box, but I want something more. I want something more. And how can we do that? That within this input box, I want a control, and for that control I need a state. Okay, so what I'm simply saying here is that with the help of, I will show you, import use state from React. Okay, and what this use state is that it will provide us, let us suppose we say let, and then two things. Let us suppose value and set value. Okay, these are just two names. So it is the value that we can change, we can use, and then there is a set value function to it, which will, provide us the capability to change the value. Okay, what is suggested by this whole system is that you should not directly change the value. You should only use the set value function to update the value of this, particular variable. Okay, and then you can use this use state to generate the initial value of this, variable. And let us suppose we say it is happy. Okay, good. Then what we can do now, we can say the value of this input box, maybe, let us suppose something, because that value of this value, those kind of words can be very difficult to pronounce. So because of that, I'm saying, simply saying that let something set something is equal to use state happy. And now what we can say here is that this is something, the value of this is something. And we are coming back here, we will refresh the page, and the value reflecting here is happy. But what is the problem? Now if we want to change the value of this, it is not getting updated. Why this is not getting updated? Why we cannot add or delete something from this? Why we do not have any update in this? I'm typing a lot of things, but I cannot really change this happy. I want an awesome response to this. Why I cannot change what is in this? It is set by why and how. Because the virtual DOM is saying the value of this item should be happy. So is there any way you can change its value? Now you can only change the value by changing the value of something. Okay, because in the virtual DOM, what we are saying here is that this value of this input box is being represented by the value of something. So if we want to change the value of this input box, we have to change the value of something. Are you getting the point? You can only change the value of this by changing the value of something. Okay, that makes sense to everyone? Okay, so if we do this, if we simply say that we create a function that whenever there is any change, okay, on change, we will call a function. Okay, we will call a function. Let us suppose we call it function of handle change. Okay, this is a function. Um, or we can create it as a lambda as well. This, okay, and because it will have an event, we can pass the parameter event to it, and now we can see that on change we want to handle this change. As simple as this. So now when we try to change something in this, there will be an event happening. Okay, so and what will be the value of that? What we can simply say, we want to console log it. Okay, to understand what is happening when this within this event, we want to get event dot target in the console. Boom. Okay, let me refresh this, and now let me try to write something here. Okay, let me not value. Okay, okay. So you're getting this. So whatever the letter we are typing here, we are getting the response here. Okay, so how do we use this? Can we simply say that we are getting the updated value here? We are getting the updated value here. So if we can set up that value to something, okay, we could say that this is updated value, and now we can use it to set something to this updated. As simple as that. Okay, and now we can come back and we can write something here. Okay, but you will say that it is not really something awesome. I'm not getting something, as you were saying, something very, fundamentally awesome. I'm not getting something like this, but I will showcase that. Let us suppose you also had this h1, and this h1 also had the same value. Changes, sorry, changes with something. Boom, refresh, changes with something. Okay, the changes with happy. Isn't it amazing? When you are changing your input box, something is directly connected to it and changing on every simple change. you know isn't it great? Isn't it the something you want to make? Okay, and you might not exactly imagine the kind of possibilities it can create, but when you are seeing your Facebook page and you are typing something and the changes popping up and everything is connected, the fundamental concept that is working behind this and that is same. Okay, that every change can work on some different change. When you are typing something and you say happy, and corresponding to that happy, some gifts are popping up, some suggestions are coming in. How is that happening? Do you get the point? So now every change is connected to a JavaScript value, and the JavaScript value can be connected to anything else. Okay, so you can connect, that this is a bi-directional connectivity. Okay, so you can connect this value to that value and upgrade of that value to another value, and because of a change of a value, you can put up an additional event to another values. Okay, so if I say happy in this, then a prompt should open up. Okay, and because of that prompt, that should happen, or this that should happen. These things should minimize, and some random events that you can create by the changes of some small values. Okay, like if I put up a username in this. Okay, like we want to add up GitHub APIs to it. Let us suppose we want to add up GitHub APIs to it, and I want to put up a username in this, and whenever I put a username in this, I want to get the image of that person on this location. How is it? You want this thing to happen? So, whenever I put a username of a person in this and we click submit, we get the person's image here. That would be nice, right? Cool. So, let's do that. We will install something for this. We will install an Axios. Okay, so Axios is just a library that help us create, a get request, post request, and these kind of API requests for us. Cool. So this is installing. Okay, it will obviously take some time, but we don't have to worry about that. So at the same time, what we can understand here is that if we go API dot, let me open another, but we have API dot github.com/user/teen warrior, or maybe if I want to show from here, GitHub API docs for users will have this. Okay, so what we can tell from here, let us suppose we open up a Postman as well. Postman is also a tool for putting up get and post requests. Okay, so if we put up a request on this, okay, and on the response of that, we are getting the user details like this, like API dot, in the here we can see it is like this. GitHub's get api.github.com/user. This is for individual user, the personal details, but on the users, I can provide a username, and on that, I will get the details of this person. Avatar URL. This is my photo. Okay, the photo of my GitHub account. Cool. So these are the details which are pointing toward this person. Okay, and we want these details. Cool. So what we can do with the help of this use state, let us suppose we also want to store a username, okay, or this is the set username, okay, and by default the username is empty, and we do not have this happy, we simply have this username, and what we are simply saying that when we change it, when we change this, when we handle this change, we update the username, okay. And when we want to put up the request, for that what we can simply create, we can create a button, okay, and this button is submit button. Okay, cool. And now what we want to do, we want to create an on click function on this. Then there is a click on this button, we want to do something, okay, and that is a function, that is on submit function. Let us suppose we want to create, let submit. So this is a button, and we are uh, submit call or submit handle submit or whatever. Let us suppose we say handle submit. Cool. And then we put up this handle submit here so that whenever a handle is happening, we can have this. Okay, so obviously right now Axios is getting installed, and probably because I'm putting up both stream, I'm putting up an upstream to you guys. At the same time, I'm downloading something, so because of that, things are getting hindered. But let us see. My stream is clear to you guys. Are you guys facing any problem with the stream? There is like lag or something, like audio or something is breaking or like this, or everything is fine? No problem. Great. So even before the installation is complete, the something that I can show you is that let us suppose we say console log, and here we want information of username. Okay, what is the username at this point? This is our React app. Okay, we still have something at here. We want not something, we want username, and we don't want this heading here. Cool. Hello, and then submit. It is hello here. Hello, and I will let us suppose keen warrior submit keen warrior here. Okay, so this is the thing, and with the help of this, what is the next thing I will do? I will, let me just check if the installation is complete on the second bash. Yeah, it is. So what now? I can import Axios from Axios. Okay, and what now? I can put up a get request instead of this Axios dot a get request to the URL. Okay, how do we get the URL? Let us suppose we copy from here. Oh, we close the documentation, no problem. So the location, the endpoint is https api dot github.com/users slash the username. Okay, so how do we put the username here? With the help of this tool, we will put up a get request, and then after that we provide that when the response happen, then do what? Okay, for that what we simply do that let us suppose we pass this, and then when there is a response, we simply, for the sake of just providing you the information what exactly is happening, we console log the response. Console dot log the response that we are getting from here. Boom. Okay, so we will need to restart this because we installed the Axios. Sir, can you say once more about the Axios? Axios is just, when you want something from a remote resource, okay? So you want to put up a guest or post or put or delete request for that resource. Like, we want to get an information, so let us suppose we are putting up a get request. We want to create something, so we will put up a post request. Okay, so for putting up these kind of responses, these kind of requests, we want something. Okay, so Axios is just a library for that. So even though with the basic JavaScript, you could put up these kind of requests, but this library is just helping us to make that more structured. Like, we are putting up a browser request to this URL, and that is working fine as well. But we are, kind of putting up more processed way of, putting up this request. Like, when we are putting up this keen warrior here, and we put up this request, we are getting this response. And in this data, especially in this data, we have more information about this person. Okay, so Axios is helping us in putting up this, remote request, and those especially about the asynchronous request that we generally want to use. Okay, so let us suppose I want the name of person and these kind of basic items I want to put up in this. Okay, like, whenever we get the response, by default the name of a person is empty, but when we get the name, or like, we basically get the data of this, we can provide the user details. Okay, so let us suppose we say the default user details, let user details were this. Okay, so the name of person is default user. Okay, and then we have avatar URL and things like that, so we can point up from this avatar URL. So we can put up an avatar URL, what should be the default avatar URL, like let us suppose default is this image, sorry, yeah. So, or maybe the smaller version of this, so logo 192.png. So we can use this default URL of avatar is logo 192.png, and these kind of thing. And obviously what we can do now, that because these were the user details, so user and set user, and use state, we provide this user details. Awesome. So what is happening here, that if we say that the image that we are having here, its src is not logo, its src is user dot avatar URL, and then there is a name for this, that is maybe h2, and in this we get the name of this person, user dot name. Cool, this makes sense. So if we go back here, we reflect this, we find that it is the default user and the image is this. Okay, but now when we get the response, we do not simply this in a console.response, we do what, we update the user. Okay, and how, what is the value we put for the response, we simply say that set user with the response that we are getting here, response.data that we are getting from this. Cool. And now when we reflect on this, we are simply saying that keen warrior, okay, submit. Okay, because I'm getting the information and I just simply have to reflect it in the exact locations. I don't now, right now I don't have to change at every position. I don't have to put the code that change the image, change the username, change this, change that, change everything. I'm not putting up with that. I'm not putting up with that bullshit. I'm simply saying that I'm connecting all those part with this variable, and I'm simply updating that variable, and that's it. I will update that variable, and because that variable will change everything that is connected to it, I don't have to take care of that. Is it fine with everyone? You guys are able to understand what is happening in this case? And isn't it great? You are putting up a lot of burden off your shoulders. You are simply putting up this, whole thing on the React, and it is just the very basic thing. It can do so much more. I'm just putting up the basic things, that so that the thing kind of things you can understand in the a basic lecture. Okay, but React, even though some of you might feel from the very old time that it can be like some weird stuff, but it is not weird. It is simply doing the stuff that you expect it should you generally expect to happen. Okay, you don't want to change everything at every place. You want that you can simply, you know everything is dependent on this variable, so let me just change this variable and everything should happen automatically. Isn't it the way you want things to happen, right? So that is the way it is happening in this case. Okay, so I can extend more on it, but as I feel many of you are kind of tired now, so because of that, I will keep the thing on this. I know a lot of you enjoyed it, and I know it was maybe tiring for some as well, because it is good amount of logical code. But I hope every one of you loved it, and I will see you guys on our channel. If you want, you can maybe open our YouTube podcast/YT. Okay, this is our YouTube channel. You can Google search or Google search code for cause, and you can reach us. Okay, you can reach us on website, YouTube, and everywhere. Okay, uh, we have awesome playlist. We have playlist on open source, and we have playlist on machine learning, data style algorithms. So if you want free resources, you can come here. If you want our guidance, you can connect us for the live lectures and kind of things as well, and these basic things. Okay, so that's it. That's all from my side, and yep, the session is complete from my end. Okay, so admins, you guys can put up your questions if you want. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, any queries, you guys can put in the chat and I can respond to that. And except of that, I will just request the admins to come back on screen, or yeah. Without React is not covered. Without React is covered in the very beginning. Without React, what is without React? Without React is when you do not have React and you simply have these basic libraries like maybe basic JavaScript, normally JavaScript or jQuery. Then what exactly is happening? You have to manage everything by yourself. Okay, so obviously we do not do the whole stuff without React, because just think of it, the kind of the basic application we made with React. If we do not want to make it with React, if we simply want to put it uh, with the help of basic JavaScript, it would be great work. It would be a big work, a big task to do. It will not be as simple as the things we did in the fraction of an hour. Okay, like in the last 20-25 minutes. If and even if I'm not talking, it is just 5 minute thing to do, and that will not be the same case with JavaScript, the basic JavaScript. Okay, so that is the concept that we had to understand from the session. So that is it, and see you guys. So you guys can reach me at Keen Warrior. You can Google search Keen Warrior at any place, and you can find me with that. And yep. Okay, so admin, please. Yep. So I hand over to you. Bye.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining with us. Thank you so much for taking this amazing session, Anuj. And we are truly, really glad that you did so, because especially I guess just before the hackathon, it's really important for the participants to get to know about like really great like React is an amazing framework, and it will be really useful for many of the participants who might be thinking to apply for the web development track in our hackathon, which is going to be held soon in 2 days. So yeah, thank you so much from our entire team all over. So yeah, and I hope you guys also enjoyed the session immensely, and I hope you guys got amazing tips from Sir, and you will implement it in the hackathon while developing your solution. So we'll conclude with that, and thank you everyone for joining in.
Bye.
Bye bye.